Hey, hey, beautiful. Happy Wellness Wednesday and happy September. All of that going on. It is surely warm here. I'm not sure what it's like where you are, but woo, it's been warm here for a few days. So I'm down in the basement where it's a little cooler into the studio. And so what are we talking about today? We are talking about 3 tips for strength. A couple weeks ago, before I went on vacation, we were talking about consistency when it comes to building strength and how showing up on a consistent basis is just so important, right, for creating change. That goes with anything, but it goes especially with strength training. And, there was a study out of Harvard in 2022 telling us that 30 to 60 minutes of strength training per week can reduce our risk of cancer and other disease by 10 to 20%. That's a pretty big ratio, right? When you think about that, that's a pretty big number for 30 to 60 minutes of your time per week, right? No brainer, really, in my mind anyway. So today I want to talk about just a few tips for strength. The first one I want to talk about, and I teach this all the time, is work with the body you have. I cannot stress this enough because the body you have will change from day to day, depending on what's going on. For instance, the heat here for the last 3 days has been 30 plus, so like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, right. If you don't have air, you're not sleeping as well. You're hot standing still, right? The body you have in that kind of a situation, it might be a little bit more fatigued, needs a little bit more water, right? All things you have to consider. I'll give you another example. I have a client who is post-breast cancer. And thankfully, it is all gone, but she had radiation on one side. So that has affected her ability to build strength on that side. Okay, so she must work with what this side can do. And she's building strength in that side, but she's honoring the body that she has. Okay. There are lots of different things to consider there when it comes to working with the body that you have. If you're in the middle of perimenopause, for example, your hormones are fluctuating like wildfire, right? One day you're going to feel really strong, and other days it's going to be a bit different. So shift, modify, change, right? It's okay. And one thing that I like to teach is to preview the moves. So work through the range of motion that you're about to do. So let's say, for instance, I want to do a lateral arc. And so I'm just going to take my arm up and I'm going to explore that range. Right? And I know that my shoulder blade goes out, comes back in, but I have lots of clients who this is it for them. Okay? Or they need to keep their elbow tucked in a little bit and move their arm a little bit more. If you preview the range, okay, you notice what happens. If you come up and it feels really stuck and you got to push it through, what is the advantage of putting a heavy weight in your hand for that? Not much, right? Chances of injury are going to go up. So again, maybe we're in lighter weight for that. That helps us determine what weight we should be working with. Okay, so important. Work with the body you have in this very moment. Doesn't mean you're not challenging yourself, because we all know that we will not build strength without challenging ourselves. Okay, so that's tip number 1. Work in the body you have. Number 2, breathing. Breath is fuel. Not only is breathing the gateway into the present moment and gives us the ability to calm our minds, but breathing also fuels our bodies. And breathing can really help when you're building strength. And I remember one of my clients that was in my 6-month program was doing a challenge with her teenage son for the plank. And she really didn't feel that she had a lot of strength, but what she had learned in the program was how to utilize her breath properly. And she outlasted her son, who was doing all kinds of sports and in gym and really fit, active guy. And she said to me, the reason I beat him, I know, is because of the breath. And I heard him holding his breath. And she was breathing and utilizing her core while she was working on her strength. It's there. That's what it's supposed to be used for. Okay, that's part of what it does for us. And so we can engage that abdominal wall on the exhale and really work with the breath. Biggest tip there, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Get your breath moving, okay, while you're lifting. And it really helps with compensation. So for example, if I'm going to take my arm out to the side and then to get it up overhead, I've got to reach over to the side. Well, if I'm breathing, I can feel my core work, right? It's a lot smoother. The body has more help. It has a stronger foundation in which to lift from. Hugely important. Okay. And the third one is stack. So first, work with the body you have in this very moment. 2, utilize your breath. So important. So important. And 3, stack your movement, right? Biggest thing I hear, and I talked about in the consistency Wellness Wednesday, with the consistency of building strength, right? Was I don't have time. I don't have time. I hear that time and time and time again. So what is it to do some strength training while you're making dinner? Sounds bizarre maybe, but it isn't, right? I've got clients fitting in their squats, okay, while their dinner is cooking. At a time, maybe they might be surfing their phones or something while they're waiting for dinner to be cooked. Right? They're doing squats. They're adding in some weights. So maybe we're looking at something like doing a squat and a bicep curl. Okay, stacking your movement. Add some things together. You're outside, you're gardening. Now, I mean, in Northeastern Ontario, or in Ontario, we're in fall, most of Canada, and all of Canada, actually. We're in the fall. And so now's the time to get our planters in, and, we're out cleaning out our gardens. At least we are here at this house. And so, slow that movement down. You're picking up that planter, bend down, exhale on the lift, really utilize your legs on that lift. This is an opportunity to build strength. Okay, but just really notice how it's feeling in your body and the difference when you slow down, when you connect the breath to it. It's amazing. Sometimes we rush through all that heavy gardening stuff outside so we can come in and do our workout. Well, that's a workout out there. We have to forget that. Right? But slow it down. Use your breath. Utilize your legs. You're building strength. These are all opportunities to build strength. Just notice. So 3 tips for strength. Work with the body you have in this very moment. Breathing, right? Not holding your breath, utilizing your breath when you're lifting, utilize your breath when you're working outside, and stack your movement. Add a couple things in, right? You're more efficient, you get through it quicker. Okay? So those are my 3 tips for building strength. I hope you find them helpful. And there is some movement on YouTube. There is movement here in the group that you can utilize, and you can check out my virtual studio. I am doing a strength training for women program that starts next week with an info session tonight, and I'll drop the link for the info session in if that is something that interests you, or you just like to learn more about it, see if it's a good fit for you. 30 to 60 minutes a week, game changer. Adding strength in little pieces through the day, game changer. I don't know about you, but I got a lot of grandkids. I just spent a week away with them and had so much fun, but so grateful for my strength. As I canoed, I kayaked, I played with the kids, I, walked, hiked. It was just wonderful. I experienced life, and thoroughly enjoyed my week with my 8 kiddos and their mamas and papas. It's beautiful memories that I didn't have to sit back and watch, that I actually participated in. To me, that's why I'm here. That's why I do this. What about you? All right. Take care of you, and I will see you next Wednesday. We got some great stuff coming up on Wellness Wednesdays, few guests coming up, so that is very exciting. All right, take care of you. Have a great week. See you next week.